In the vast continent of Argathia, the long war that was taking place ended after the arrival of a queen. Her success in the quest to find the treasure of God unified the continent and brought peace upon it. But the queen suddenly fell into a deep slumber and disappeared. So did the treasure of the god along with the god's protection. The unification of the continent broke down, and Argathia was once again divided. Since then, even after centuries, the continent still bears the quest to find the treasure of God once again. To this day, no one has succeeded. Everyone was so close to giving up, except one. In that one kingdom, the journey to find the treasure has become a national event and is held annually. Using the queen's name, the journey was called Aire. The story starts off with the princess of the empire named Elda, training with her sword against the empire's general. Even though at first the general is taking the princess lightly, the princess takes him by surprise and manages to disarm him, ultimately winning the spar. Princess Elda complains about the spar being too easy and asks the general to fight her with all his might, but the general reassures her that it's because she has improved so much. Her attendant interrupts the conversation and tells her that she needs to go. The general asks whether the princess is going to the royal council. She says that he's right and also says that the youngest prince is too young to depart, so it might take more time to prepare, then leaves. During the royal council, which is basically a lunch with all her brothers, all of whom are princes, one of the attendants starts talking and says that the kingdom won't forget how honored they are for choosing the princess, since they are still trying to find the queen. And since the king's first grandchild is born, according to the tradition, the ceremony to bless the king's sacrifice shall begin. The princess corrects the attendant by saying that he means king's sacrifice instead of king's gift. The attendant coughs and says that it's according to the goddess church that a descendant of the royal family shall be chosen as a gift, and the chosen royalty should choose an attendant to join them on their journey. Both of them shall be tied in a contract and devote their life to finding the queen's last legacy. The Aire's other name, King's Gift, should travel the continent, and has the obligation of helping everyone they meet along the journey as a process of finding the last legacy. Hence, the quest will include the task of fighting criminals and subjugating demons. Most of the brothers seem uninterested and ignorant. Only two of them were listening, the eldest and the youngest. The attendant finishes off by saying that if one successfully overcomes all the hardships of the journey and finds the treasure, by following the tradition, they shall be crowned as the king. Then, the attendant asks if there are any volunteers. Two of the brothers complain that it's too noisy and that someone has already decided to volunteer, and that someone should stop wasting both of their time. Two of the brothers seem completely uninterested. One of them complains that why isn't the person that has already decided not quickly raising his hand and that he should stop wasting time. Then, the youngest raises his hand and reluctantly volunteers. The princess complains and insults the two brothers that forced it on the younger brother. One of the brothers mentions that the princess is going to be sold soon. This means that the princess is going to be sold to a marriage of convenience for the kingdom. The meeting concludes, and all of them go their own way. On the way out, one of the brothers who cares about the princess tells her not to worry too much, because he will not give up on finding a way to help her out of that situation. The princess thanks him, and then makes her way to the arena. Before the next fight, Princess Elda meets up with one of the contestants who will be fighting in a match. The contestant and the princess seem to have a promise together. The promise is that if the contestant is able to win this match, she will free him. But the princess doesn't have much confidence that he will win anyway, and the contestant enters the arena. The contestant is introduced as a very strong magician who has fought and won against many. His name is Yerga Silfionce, and he was captured as a spy from another kingdom. Yerga looks around at the crowd that is booing him to find a woman standing up, looking at him with both hands clenched in prayer. The woman seems to be some sort of nobility, as her attendant calls her, "my lady." Yerga nods towards the woman, and so does she, but she was on the verge of crying. Princess Elda watches Yerga enter the arena with such confidence that she becomes disgusted. The king of gladiators, a slave, enters the arena. His name is Vera. As soon as he enters, the whole crowd cheers for him. The princess's attendant asks her if she's sure of today's winner, and the princess affirms and says that he will get her out of here. The princess is interested in who the winner of the match will be because she will choose the winner as her attendant to accompany her on her journey since she's sick of this kingdom. Vera enters the arena with loose chains tied to his hands. As soon as Vera enters, Jirga becomes confused about how Vera will fight with no weapons. But as soon as Vera starts spinning the chains, he quickly understands his fighting style, and quickly begins casting a fireball spell, launching the fireball attack towards Vera. Vera counters the attack perfectly by predicting the trajectories of the fireballs and hitting each one with his chains. As Jirga is surprised by the perfect counter, Vera jumps towards him with his chains. Vera swings his chains towards Jirga, but Jirga dodges perfectly as well and counters with another set of fireballs. This time, instead of hitting the fireballs, Vera dodges them and heads closer towards Jirga with a heavy punch. But Jirga blocks the punch with his staff. Unfortunately for him, it breaks. Even though Jirga just lost his staff, he doesn't waste a beat, and he starts chanting. Vera, as well, tries not to miss the opportunity and swings his chains towards Jirga. But Jirga perfectly dodges again. But this time, Vera had 2 attacks prepared simultaneously. He wraps the chains around Jirga, making him unable to move. But luckily that didn't injure Jirga, as he already set a magic barrier around his body as armor. Vera then runs towards Jirga and hits Jirga's head with his knees. Jirga gets himself together and then grabs Vera by the neck and headbutts him twice using the magic barrier around his body. Vera pushes Jirga away and moves back. The mask that Vera was wearing falls off to reveal a dark-haired boy from the north. Jirga doesn't waste a moment and starts chanting a firewall spell. The spell manages to burn the connection of the chains that were wrapped around him and blocks Vera from running and attacking him from close range. He also recasts a shield around his body. Jirga, as defense, chants a bunch of fireballs, waiting for Vera to jump from above. Vera looks around, looking for a way to attack, and then runs towards the audience. He jumps on top of the wall and uses his chains to grab onto the floating crystal in the air that was used as a speaker and projector. Vera does a wall run to generate enough force for him to jump. His chain breaks, and he leaps inside the firewall from behind Jirga. Jirga was expecting Vera to jump at him from the front, but was surprised to find him attacking from behind. Jirga was too slow to counterattack, and in turn he was hit from behind, which made Jirga fall to the ground. Then Vera puts his foot on top of Jirga and looks over to the king. The king throws a sword towards Vera. Vera catches the sword and waits for the king to make his judgment. Then, suddenly, a lady stands up and announces herself as one of the daughters of the Archduke of another kingdom called Soshiara Kingdom, and pleads to spare Jirga. The king thinks for a second and allows her to speak. The lady tells the king that it would be a waste to kill such a talented magician. Instead, if he allowed her, she wants to take him to her kingdom as a magic instructor. But if the king disagrees, he can allow him to accompany the Aire as a subordinate. She begs the king for his mercy. The king thinks about it while holding his thumb up, but then suddenly turns his thumb down, which gives the signal for Vera to kill Jirga. Before killing him, though, Vera asks Jirga for a favor. That favor is to pay respect to his friends that were killed by Jirga and tell them that he misses them. Jirga widens his eyes for a second, then he dies. Princess Elda, satisfied, tells her attendant that she has finally decided that Vera will be her attendant. This was the first chapter of the manhwa called Aire. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like the video and consider subscribing. Let me know if you want me to cover more chapters or recommend a manhwa you think I should do.